Hello everybody, welcome to Padshaw Junction. Something a bit different this time. I decided to have a go at scratch building a building for the railway. I used to make buildings for my model railway when I was a boy, so I haven't done anything for over 40 years maybe. Just recently I wasn't able to get up in the attic to have a look at do anything with the layout, so I thought, right, I can sit down here and have a go at scratch building, but I'll just use what materials I've got on hand. So this is just made from a cereal packet with clear plastic from fruit and veg packing to make the windows, cocktail sticks for drain pipes, kebab sticks cut down to make chimney pots, etc, etc. I'll give you a quick tour around. There we go. The little fox signs were actually cut out of the side of a box of tissues we had, which had little patterns of foxes all over it. The felt roof on the toilet block on the back is created from wet and dry paper, just drawn on it. The rear door was just some printed wood panelling that I cut out of a magazine article, picture of a wooden door. I think, you know, for a first going over 40 years, it's not too bad. I had a go at trying to create the impression of an interior. I don't know if I can shine a light on and give you that. Again, just using cutouts from a magazine to give the impression that there's something going on in the interior in there. And curtains in the windows, just bits of coloured paper cut out of magazines and newspapers again. So it's not perfect. I don't know how accurate the scale is. I just eyeballed it, didn't really do any great measurements, just made it up as I went along. As you can see underneath, just made from bits of old cardboard box. Anyway, I've got a few still shots I took as I constructed it, and we could have a look at them now. Okay, so I just started by cutting out the basic 4 wall shapes from the old cereal packet, drawing the window shapes and the door shapes out and cutting them out. Then started gluing it together with PVA glue and adding some bracing bits in the corners to try and keep it square, as you can see, using the cutting mat to help keep it square as well. Added the other end on, just sprayed the interior with matte black spray paint I found in the shed, just so you can't see that it's made out of cereal box when you look through the windows, just to give that effect. And then I added on the extension at the back, which is going to be where the toilets are. Again, strengthening the corners with little bits of card. Put a little bit of bracing in the roof as well, keep the roof straight. Bit more bracing on the roof, because once I started painting the outside with poster paints, the end roof gables started curving, because I think they got damp, so just to keep them straight. Windows are just plastic sheet drawn on with a white marker paint pen, give the impression of windows. Not too bad. The toilet block, I thought I'd glue this old bit of crossword on the inside, so if you did see anything through the windows, they might look like a tiled toilet block, but I don't know if you'll ever see it. Just get that idea that the packing from the windows is stuff that's got a pattern on it to try and look a bit like frosted glass, just to obscure it a bit. Moving on, I just used a matchbox car to give an idea of scale to see if it looked about right, and I've glued the window frames in by now, the clear glass, give the impression of windows. And then I made some curtains, just bits of coloured paper out of magazines and newspapers, glued to coffee stirrer sticks, so they hang back from the glass a little bit, and then just glued to the inside of the building to give the impression of curtains. I think it works quite effectively when you see it from the outside. We'll have a look in a second. There we go, there's the windows at the back. They got grey curtains. Somebody on the left's having a lay-in because the curtains are still drawn. They obviously had a late night shift at the pub there, serving the customers. And the windows at the front, just with the pieces of blue paper. Again, they just hang back a bit from the plastic sheet, just gives the impression there might be a curtain there, I think. And then downstairs, I wanted to give the impression of interior, so I put a piece of curved card that runs from one corner to the other of the interior, from the side window across from the front windows. And I just made a collage up out of bits from the magazines and newspapers again, to give the impression that there might be an interior in the pub, in case I ever got round to lighting it up, or if you could see it. And from this angle, I think you can see, when you see through the glass, it gives the impression that there is something inside the building. So rather than it just being an empty box, I don't know, just gives the impression. You can see it here from the side window again. Just as you look through, it looks like there might be something in there going on. So no customers at the moment though, unfortunately. Cut the roof panels out of card and sprayed them with grey primer, but they looked a bit too flat. So then I just quickly wafted over some matte black paint from a distance to give a speckled finish. And then I drew the tiles on by hand, just with pencil, using a ruler and pencil, just to get the impression that it's a tiled roof. And I started using black card to start adding border around the top of the roof and the top of the door frames, etc., to try and make it look a little bit less box-like. And again, I just shone a light through at this moment to see what the interior would look like once I started putting the frames around, etc. And yeah, I thought it gave the impression there was something going on inside the pub. That's just before I glued the rear roof panel on. Just a quick look inside. I've done the felt roof with using the old wet and dry paper, and drew onto the pencil, just to give the impression that it's sheets of roofing felt being added on there. Doesn't look too bad, I don't think. I made the door out of coffee stirrer sticks, cut it into little sections and just coloured them in with a black Sharpie pen, and then started gluing them to the inside of the frame of the building one at a time, holding them in place with pegs until the PVA set. I did score lines in them as well, so hopefully try and get the impression that the door's made up of an old pub door, made up of planks. And just an interior shot there showing all the bits of bracing I put in to try and hold it steady. Used a coffee stick on the toilet block roof to stop it sagging. And then tried to make a little chimney pot out of tiny little bits of card. That was quite fiddly and a bit of a challenge, but I don't think it came out too bad. And the chimney pots, I say, were kebab sticks, just with just with brown paint on them from a paint pen. And then I cut them in half afterwards to make 4 chimney pots in total, and just coloured the ends in black. There we are, stuck on the roof. Gives the impression that there's a chimney there. And you can see the speckled paint that I painted on the grey to try and break it up a bit. And this is where I got the idea of the name from the fox. It was from this box of tissues that we were throwing out. They had all these little foxes printed all over it. And I thought, I could cut them out and make some pub signs. Here's the main sign for the front of the pub. Obviously, I just wrote that by hand because with a white paint pen, I haven't got a printer at the moment, so I couldn't print a name out. I just used the black paper, and the side ones, just a little fox, and put a board around it to make the signs on the end of the pub. Gives quite a nice effect, I think. Both ends of the pub, so when you're approaching down the road, you can see you're getting near the fox. Pull in for a quick drink maybe. Friendly pub. And there's the sign I put on the front. And I've added some windowsills to some of the windows. We're using the black paper again. There's the Matchbox car there for gives an idea of scale of the size. And then the rear door coming out the toilets there was, as I say, was just a piece of out of a magazine that was a piece of the side of a cabinet and an advert or something. And here I tried shining a torch through the side window to see what the interior would look like. It was lit up, but I think I'd have to put some black card on the back of that door because there's some fair old gaps in the door there, isn't it? So now we're moving on. It's starting to take shape, I think. I thought to myself, yeah, it's going to need some drain pipes. And so I glued some more black card to the end of the roofs to simulate guttering, and then glued cocktail sticks together and painted them black, and added them to the building to give the impression of drain pipes on the building. You can see them there. And from a distance, it sort of gives the correct impression, I think, rather than just leaving it with none. And a view from the back there, little drain pipe on the felt roof. And I did the end of the felt roof with some black felt tip again to give the impression that there is a piece of guttering. And finally, I decided it would be a good idea if the pub had a sign that we could stand out on the road. So again, that was just cut up coffee sticks to make a rough stand, as you can see, and a couple more of the little foxes from the tissue packet. So here we go. Let's go and stick it on the layout and see what it looks like. Well, folks, here we go. Here's the fox at the junction. Trains running past in the background. That's what I like to see. Looks like Bob the landlord's in because his shonky old Jaguar's parked next to the pub. I see that thing needs a repaint. It's chronic, isn't it? And also looks like somebody else might have had a few too many sherbets at the bar because it looks like they've ordered a taxi. But there we go. With the trains running around in the background, I think it looks alright. If I ever get round to building the whole layout, I'll definitely install it. It was great fun to build. Good fun to have a go at doing something. You know, when you haven't done something for years, you lose a bit of confidence. And I would say to anybody, just have a go. Take your time. Have a play around. You know, you can get a result out of it. It's not too bad. I know it's probably not exact and not to scale and it's not accurate, but I like the look of it. And I think the little lad will like the look of it when he comes to see the layout next time. It gives us an extra building on there to give a bit of interest to add with the cars. So if you stuck with this to the end, thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. It's just a bit of fun.
As usual, thank you to everybody that watches, likes and subscribes and comments. It really means a lot, especially hitting the old like or subscribe button. That's great help to the channel. Thanks very much. And hope to catch you soon for more adventures again on Padshaw Junction. In the meantime, take care and bye for now. Oh, by the way, I have heard midweeks it's a pie and a pint for a £5, so keep your eyes peeled.